So whenever I have challenges, y'all know I like to say challenges, not problems or whatever. Whenever I have challenges in my life, especially dealing with obedience and etc., I always convert back to the book of Exodus. And so I encourage y'all to do that as well if you have situations that causes your obedience to be tested. And the reason why I love the book of Exodus when it comes down to dealing with obedience is because it gives you a clear picture of what to do and what not to do when it comes down to you being obedient. It tells you the benefits of what being obedient to God will do, but it will also tell you the downfalls that comes along with being disobedient, right? And so this morning, just piggybacking off of what I said this morning with my lack and having made up my mind that I was going to trust and obey. Whenever you are dealing with a situation where God wants you to definitely do something for the greater good, not just for yourself, but for the sake of others. I mean, there's so many stories in the Bible where so many of God's chosen ones have had to be obedient in their own lives because what God wanted to do for them, it had a lot of lives attached to it. And I think that's the problem that most people that struggle with their obedience fail to realize. Like, if God is telling you to do something, He's telling you to do something because there is other people attached to your obedience. So when you don't do what is required of you to do, you not only jeopardize your own future, you not only jeopardize your own self, you run the risk of jeopardizing others. This is why so many people ended up, getting in trouble when it came down to, obedience or whatever. So, fast forward. In Exodus, where they get in the wilderness, the children of Israel, right? They get in the wilderness and they don't got nothing to eat. When they were in bondage, they had something to eat. When they were detained, they had something to eat. When they were slaves, and I gotta say it like this because hopefully it's gonna register. When they were not able to be at their full potential that God called for them to be in as His people, right? They had something to eat, right? But when they got free, they struggled. So they thought with something to eat and they was hungry, and so now they want to complain. Now they want to talk about how it was better being in bondage, how it was better being detained, how it was better not being at their full potential, how it was better being, because they didn't have nothing to eat and they was hungry. Okay? So God literally tells Moses to tell his people, remind them of what I did in Egypt, how I pulled them out with a mighty hand, my mighty hand. Remind them of what I did. If I did that, surely I'm going to take care of this situation. This is nothing. And then He provided manna. He provided manna 6 days out the week, and on the 6th day, double portion. Bam, that's taken care of. That's taken care of. Okay? What they thought was a problem got taken care of. Bam. But it wasn't until after they had been complaining and talk about how them being not in their full potential, not walking in their fullness, and being in bondage and being slaves and being held hostage, And God was like, hey, remind them. Fast forward, they got thirsty. Here they go complaining and griping and this, that, and the third again. And God said, remind my people. Now, granted, this part hit me like bam this morning, because God said the reason why when they got thirsty and I told Moses to tell them to remember what I did in Egypt and not what I had did recently, which was provide the manna, is because I wanted them to remember the toughest time, the worstest of the worst of the time that they've had in their life, and how I showed up mightily. See, I feel like shouting right now, y'all, because God is so God. He like, I don't just want you to remember the knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone type of stuff that I done recently did for you in your life. I want you to go back, and I don't care how far you gotta go back in your remembrance. I want you to go back to the worstest of the worst time, the worstest of the worstest time in your life, and I want you to remember how I stretched out my hand, how I did them 10 plays, how I messed around and parted the Red Sea. I didn't just... And here you got the nerve to be complaining about simple issues in your life. If I did that, surely this is nothing but what... And it got to a point in his life, and I'm talking about God, where God say, listen, I done brought them out with a mighty hand. I done brought them out of the worstest situation that they was ever going to be in their life. Part of my hand is wilderness. I done fed them. I done gave them something to drink. And they still won't remember. They still won't let it register who I am and the lengths I'm willing to go for because I love them that much. I tell you what, it's no more that I can do with this generation. It's no more. No more. Now, you ain't going to the promised land. You too stuck in your ways. No matter what I do for you, you still ungrateful. No matter what I do for you, you still unappreciative. No matter what I do for you, your ungratefulness and your lack of gratitude is still causing you to be in a position where you don't trust me enough to obey me when it comes down to me saying, that's yours. What I promised you, it belongs to you. If I made you a promise, don't start doubting me every time the process don't go like how you want it to go. Every time the process get a little tough, has it ever occurred to you that I knew before you knew that you would end up in that wilderness? Have it ever occurred to you that I knew before you that you wouldn't have no food at that particular time or no water at that particular time, and I was going to provide? Sometimes, God, I have the audacity to withhold something temporarily just to see how you going to react to his faith, just to see how well you going to show how much you trust him. So in that situation, I just want to encourage you, just like I'm encouraging me, baby. Like I tell you, don't you dare think that what I come on here and say on a regular, I got it all together, baby. 99.9% of the stuff that I minister, I go through either previously at that particular time. So listen, I pray that this encouraged y'all just like it encouraged me, baby. Listen, God don't play about obedience, okay? I love you all, and as always, goodbye.